We all heard about the same advice. Get a stable job, work 9 to 5, save religiously, invest in mutual fund, be frugal, save on vacations, cut out your coffees and only buy when there is discount going on. Delayed gratification, you can only spend when you're retired at your 60. Sounds really responsible, right? But here is the question. When we guys are going to enjoy our life, let's say you are retired at your 60s, you barely have any energy left, health is not there, and your most golden years, your precious years are gone. So don't you think there is a big lie hidden in the conventional way of living? The conventional way was taught to us by teachers, your parents, your school books, and sometimes even financial experts. And we trusted it because it was conventional wisdom. And by that time when it was taught to us, we were children. We barely had any understanding developed to understand which is good and which is bad. But do you really think this conventional way is a proper way or the most realistic and practical way to reach wealth? Let's have a look what happens when we follow this conventional path. Number 1, trading your best years to live a future which may never come. We millennials and Gen Zs are being advised by the society, or let's say by the culture, that you should sacrifice your today, that a better future will be arriving tomorrow. But my only question is, when this better future will finally arrive? As an example, when I remember about my grandfather who was doing a government job, he was diligently saving for 40 years. But what happened when he was at age 60? He used to discuss with me and he used to say that I maybe saved for 40 years, but now at this point of life, I barely having any energy left or any health left that I can play with you. Can you imagine how tragic it is? Another example, but in a big scale. If you think your stock market and investments are basically recession-proof, then just think about it. What happened during the time of 2008, or better say 2020? The all investment and the whole stock market plummeted. So people who have put most of their savings into the stock market, they were into really panic situation. But you know what is even more fatal? What if you and me or anyone of our age doesn't make it till their 60s? Then what will be the point of all these sacrifices which we have been doing for 40 years? Point 2, 5 for 2 trade, which is actually a very bad trade. Now just think about the conventional way of living into a very practical way. We are going to calculate the value of time here. What we office going people are doing, we are basically working for 5 days in exchange of 2 days of freedom. That is a negative 60% return of your time. Now let me explain it in a very simplified way. Let's say you are investing $5 into a trade and you're getting a return of only $2. Do you think that it's a profitable trade? Of course not. In anywhere in the world, all the high-paid professionals like doctors, engineers, or let's say lawyers, they work their weekends to bear the expenses of their living, but they barely get any time for themselves or their family members. Sometimes you will see a corporate employees like us are working overtime for 20 years to retire early. But you know what happens when they really reach their 50s? They barely have any meaningful friendship left. They barely have any energy left. They barely have any health left to enjoy the wealth they earned. But just think, this 5 to 2 trade, how tragic it is. It doesn't matter how much overwork we do, doesn't matter how good quality work or output you deliver, you have to sacrifice 5 days of a week for someone else, and you just get only 2 days for yourself. That is why you will see most of the people start to do party, they drink a lot, they celebrate with their friends and family, whatever, on Friday night. Because Friday night is the night when your own personal freedom kicks in. Number 3, the mindset of scarcity. You think small and you live small. You will always see from relatable sources who are preaching about conventional ways. It can be our parents, it can be our grandparents, it can be neighbors, that you should live frugally. Cut out all the coffee, cut out all the vacation, live below your means, don't order food from outside, live in complete scarcity. But I can assure you one thing, this conventional way is not going to help you in build wealth. You know why? Because conventional way is mostly focused in cutting out all the expenses. But not all things have to be just needs. Sometimes you want to watch some movie where you get some emotional fulfillment. Sometimes you want to join a sports club where you can go with your friends. So you will be having fulfillment in your life. But the conventional way is saying you to cut out all your expenses. But the real meaning of wealth is actually growing your income, not cutting out your expenses. So if we are living our whole life in a defensive way, when in life we are actually going to score? I have a lawyer friend whose name I'm not going to mention, but he was totally living his life in a conventional way. He was saving each and every single penny. He was avoiding any kind of luxuries. He was driving an old car, and sometime he didn't even used to buy clothes for 2-3 years. But what happened? When he was at his 43s, he suddenly collapsed into the office, and that was the last day of his life. So what happened to the millions of money which he saved in his bank account? And even though if he would be alive till his 60s, what he will be realizing? He will be realizing he spent his entire life just waiting for the happiness. According to me, the scarcity mindset suppresses your thinking power or your potentiality. Instead of saving 500 rupees for a coffee, why not to think about developing a skill which will help you to make 5,000 rupees per month? So what we really learn from this? Growth is the main factor for your financial freedom or your wealth. It's not about cheap cost cutting. The rich people focuses on multiple stream of incomes instead of cutthroat budgeting and of each and every rupee. The alternative to the conventional way. So here is what I am doing according to my current situation and potentiality to escape the conventional way of living and actually start living. The routes I am following to build wealth differently is focusing on assets, multiple source of income, and also focusing on leverage or using debt to the most efficient way. See, savings are important, but relying solely on savings or let's say fixed deposit is not a wise thing to do. You still remember what happened like in 2008 or 2022. I still remember what a panic situation it was when in 2008 and most recently in 2020 stock market crashed. My portfolio just went into the gutter. So you cannot claim that index fund is the most safest way where your money will be safe. I am also always looking into invest in small business, in small real estate project or income generating assets which can open up a new way of cash flow. As a real life example, you can always see that Mukesh Ambani and Jeff Bezos, they not only saved money, they built businesses, but most importantly, they invested into assets, creating multiple sources of income. As you can see in my channel in We Persist, which is also I'm trying to establish as a separate source of income by serving you people the best possible way where you will be using your hard-earned money in the most efficient way and also attain financial freedom. As you all know, with the introduction of AI, how unsafe the jobs are nowadays. Basically, the illusion of safety is actually breaking. Today morning only, I saw that my ex-company is declaring to close down all its offices, to close down the entire business because of huge financial crisis because of the introduction of AI. As a big scale example, you will always see that athletes or actors are going bankrupt because they only relied on their profession, not any other source of income. So what I will personally suggest you that you also think about putting your money into small businesses. If it's possible, go for rental incomes or online income streams. As an example, one of my friends from Pune who had a small restaurant beside his corporate job which he used to handle in the evening only, now after 5 years, it is generating enough sufficient income which is more than his salary. Leverage smart debt but not consumer debt. The conventional way always teaches us that all debts are bad, but this is not the case. I can give you an example which resides in my family. One of my maternal uncle took loan from the bank and started his real estate business 15 years back. And the best news is, nowadays, I came to know recently that he is developing an entire town in Calcutta. A big scale example is Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, where he properly explained how wealthy people uses debt from the banks and they acquire assets, not liabilities like fancy cars. So what will be the main difference between a good debt and a bad debt? An example of a good debt is you buy a real estate property which is generating an extra cash flow for you, and a bad debt on the other hand, you buy an expensive car where the value is actually depreciating over the years. And finally, the most important point, build new set of skills, invest on yourself, and don't think so much about cutting costs. If you guys have been following me closely, you will see that I'm constantly trying to level up my game by speaking better, my communication skills, my video editing, etc. I know that it is a very long journey, and that's why I'm taking one step at a time. So this is the most fundamental advice I'm going to give you. Before you invest your money on anything, like it can be real estate, extra source of income, kindly invest in yourself first. Develop new exponential skills. You can always negotiate higher in your next job if you use it properly, or you can use it for yourself also, how I am doing. Learn sales also and try out new ways of side hustle. As you can all see that entrepreneurs like Elon Musk or Virat Kohli didn't get rich by cutting cost. They focused on growth, they focused on scaling and high income opportunities. Start now by shifting your mindset from saving money to building wealth. Because see, we are not in this life to live in scarcity. We are here to build freedom. We are here to enjoy abundance and security. The choice is all yours. So my question to all of you, my friends, is about why to wait for retirement? We can still build wealth. We can still create freedom when we are still young. I was a strong believer of conventional way because my upbringing was like that. But later I understood that conventional way slowly leads to a slow death. We can build wealth while freedom is still there in our mind. If you're serious about building personal wealth or minimum getting better in money, I will highly recommend you to go through my last two videos, where the first video is about bankruptcy trap, where we millennial and Gen Z can hardly save any money because of poor money mindset. And the second video is about poor financial education system of our country, which is designed to keep us poor, which is designed to keep us away from financial freedom. If you want to take control of your financial future, please like and subscribe. Please subscribe guys to help me to build a community of like-minded people who are serious about their personal finance. Let's escape the conventional way of living and build wealth in a smart way. Arijit here from Bangalore signing out. See you on the next video.